So I am back. This is going to be about, as you see from the title, my final semester, finally. So a quick recap for anyone who doesn't remember, doesn't know, whatever the case may be. I started school in the fall of 2015. I was planning to, let me see if I can still do this, double major in psychology and English with a concentration in creative writing and double minor in religion and cultural anthropology. So, all of these things, they weren't my immediate goal when I entered, but I had all of these interests. I was interested in religion, I was interested in psychology, I was interested in English, I was also interested in music, but I didn't see myself like doing anything serious with that. Like it's a serious hobby for me. I've been going to a music school for years now, playing guitar, singing, but I didn't know if I wanted to get a degree in it. I didn't think I wanted to get a degree in it. Cultural anthropology came a little bit later as well, but ultimately before I declared, that was everything that I was planning to do. So, as a freshman, I had to take a math class, algebra for college students or something like that. I don't love math, but I'm not bad at it. And I think for a long time, I always said that I hated math. I think in part because it just took more work for me, but there are a lot of parts of math that I'm good at. There are also a lot of things that I didn't understand why I had to do. For example, doing slopes and stuff like that. I'm blind. I'm not gonna be anybody's construction worker. I don't see the application, but a lot of things like with percent, with measurements and things to that effect, a lot of those were relevant to me. I'm sorry, I went off track. So I'm taking this math class, and my professor is really struggling to deal with a blind student. My accessibility office is also not being very helpful because they're like, oh, we're gonna give you this. And I'm like, actually I need this. And they're like, but no, this is how we've done it. And I'm like, but no, I'm a different blind student, so one size does not fit all. And I ultimately took no credit for that course because I would have gotten a D. Then I took the class again in the summer, failed again because though I was doing really well, I got hundreds on my homework, the proctors that I had for the tests did not know math. What do I mean by did not know math? He got the less than and greater than signs mixed up. So I tried to appeal this grade. It did not work out. I had asked my professor for like a cheat sheet with symbols. He was hesitant. I was like, bro, I can't even read it, so you're good. This is for the proctor. But that still didn't help because the symbols didn't make sense to him. Because I still didn't pass the test after the proctor received the cheat sheet, the appeal committee or whomever were like, well, it doesn't matter. You still didn't know the content. You still didn't know the material or something like that. But my thing is, it wasn't me, it was the proctor. As I said, dude didn't know the difference between the less than and greater than sign. So the symbol sheet actually did not help because he didn't know how to read them. He didn't really know what they meant. And since I didn't have the braille in front of me, I had to go off of what he said. And consequently, he did not do well. According to my sister who looked at his handwriting for him transcribing my work, it also was kind of convoluted or didn't always make sense. And it was just bad. Tried taking the class one more time, still was not a success. Different times I had different accommodation issues each time, and no one was really addressing it. It was more like, well, you're not good at math, you have to do this and that. And no, I'm not the best at math, but I also wasn't given the accommodations I needed, so I wasn't actually given a chance to do well in math. So January of last year, I sent an email to my school's president and a number of other people, including the head of the accessibility office. The president did not respond. No one else did. Head of accessibility did. After some urging, I hear that my email sent them in a bit of an uproar, and all of a sudden, things are moving. The tech guy was like, so there's a machine, the P-off machine, I don't remember what it stands for. It stands for picture in a flash. It creates tactile images. Once you draw on this special paper with this special marker or something, you can put it through the machine and it raises the image. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, we never used the P-off machine and we never used the embosser to braille. No, the fuck you didn't, sir. No, you didn't. And I also during this time went to see a lawyer who was like, well, if they could remove the grade, if they could this. But the thing is that I need the math grade. I needed it to be a psych major. By this point I had declared English and I was working on English. But I needed the math for my major. And the accessibility is like, oh, we can take the math waiver. You can take a math waiver, which I'll take a substitute course, and that'll count for the core credit of the math. but that's only if it wasn't required for my major. And so I had already changed, and long story short, so much stuff happened. I was so burnt out. Like, I was 4 years in. I was supposed to graduate last May of 2019, and my graduation did not look like it was in sight at all. I didn't know when I was going to graduate. No one was really doing anything. No one was really helping me. I had a few like other issues going on as well, and I had started doing really badly in some of my classes, like from the semester before, because no one was doing anything. They were trying to get a hold of my like third and final professor so that he could, get them the final exam, and they were having trouble getting a hold of him. Before that, I was going back and forth between the math and accessibility office because they were like, oh, this is this person, no, this is this person. And I was really tired. I took incompletes, or I failed, or it was really bad. But I was in a bit of a pickle because I had to keep my GPA above a 2 to keep my financial aid and to stay in the dorms because I did not want to go home. And so it was a lot, and that was really taking a toll. So now, finally, I am in my last semester. By December, I'll have 119 credits. I need 120 to graduate. So in January, I'm planning to take a course in the winter. However, I'm seeming to be in a bit of a pickle, bit of a kerfuffle, if you will. I'm having a kerfuffle. I'm not inside of a kerfuffle. What would it look like to be inside of a kerfuffle? These are the questions that haunt me at night. In my last vlog video, I talked about learning a language on my own. And while all of the aspects of getting the Braille components are still relevant and still pertinent, I think that's the right word. Hang on, let me look up the definition. Cool, I think that works. Did I mention that I'm an English major? Oh, by the way, I never did do that culture anthropology minor. I did take one course that was kind of interesting, not interesting enough for me to do it, but I am a religion minor, so that came to fruition. Anyway though, so I decided to take a French course so that I could make sure I had a good foundation in the language. It's 6 credits. It's called Intensive Elementary French, and it sort of smushes French 1 and French 2 together and I think it makes it a better experience. Because the other classes, learning French over the 4 semesters is more drawn out, and this one just kind of throws you in. And the way that this professor teaches the course, it tries to make it as immersive as possible. So there are a lot of videos and pictures. I don't know if you guys noticed that I'm blind, or if you remember that I'm blind, so that doesn't really help me. Especially when the videos are all in French and this is my target language that I'm learning. Like I won't see the gesture to put to the phrase. So now we're working out how this is going to work for me. The annoying thing though is that one of the first things that started to be asked once things started to get even more complicated, because initially there were some solutions being tossed out, but once things started to seem particularly complicated, it was kind of like, well, are you taking this course for fun or do you need it? Doesn't matter. We should find a workable solution. And now, I will say that both the professor and the accessibility office do seem to be working on it. The professor was like, wow, I didn't realize how visual this course is. And he was like, have you thought about taking French 1? And I was like, well, this course is 6 credits, which is what I need. The other one is 3 credits. Also, French 1, their textbooks were $400 cumulatively, 200 each, actually 200 for one, 198.47 for the other. Whereas for this one, I think my total came up to just slightly over 100. Very big difference. But I want the intensive because I want to really get into and like delve into the meat of the language, if you will. And he was like, something can be worked out. I'm sure we can, nothing's coming to mind, but I'm sure we can think of something. And then accessibility counselor was like, well, let me ask you something. Is this for fun or do you need it? Again, doesn't matter, because we should find a workable solution. It is legally your obligation to find me a workable solution. And so again, like I said, it does seem like they are working on it. We have a meeting on Tuesday. I'll let you guys know what happens, but I am not planning on dropping this course. 1, because I'll need to find 2 new replacement courses, but also on top of that, because I shouldn't have to. If French was the language I chose, so for my school, we have to take a language, and if we are exempt or tested out of the language, then we can do our minor, but it's called the Hunter Focus to get yourself 4 classes in a particular language course. That's usually what the minor is, and then I guess some people add on another minor, or like I said, you get exempted from the language requirements, which is what I did. I was exempt from Spanish from having taken it in high school. Part of the reason I did that is because I just wanted to jump to a particular Spanish course, and so that's how I was able to take religion as my minor. But the point that I'm making is, if French were my language requirement, there probably is a waiver or something that you could do to like get out of that, but I don't want to. The waiver isn't the solution. For the math, when they were reading me the waiver that I had to sign, it was like, I'm unable to do this. That is not true. I can take math. I have taken algebra. At one point, one of the people in the accessibility office was like, how did you do math in high school? With the proper accommodations, and then I passed it. Regardless of how well I did, I feel like I ranged from, I think in geometry I got like a 68, but in algebra, I want to say I got like a 79 or 80 actually. And it doesn't matter how well or not I passed it, it's the fact that I did, and the fact that I had the right accommodations to do it. So with regard to this French class, it's like, were you just gonna slap a waiver on it as well? Anyway though, so I didn't have any like crazy first day kerfuffles, as you guys who are OGs on my channel should remember. I usually have crazy first day stories, like almost sitting on someone or walking into the wrong classroom and sitting there for a few minutes, but that was my fault for not like double checking my schedule. I just thought I remembered, and just all manner of craziness. And so no craziness this time around. I will keep you posted with the French stuff. Update from a few days later, I had the meeting with my accessibility office and my French professor. And so first, I think I mentioned this earlier, everybody was like, oh, do you need this class, or are you just taking it for fun? And for me, it's like, does it matter? Like, the answer should not be, well, just take another class. And so accessibility office was actually doing their job, helping me come up with solutions this time around. But my French professor was like, well, as I mentioned to Lily, she can take the other sequence. No, I'm not taking the other sequence. This is the one that I want to take. And because of it's intensive, it's the one that I need to take, because it's a 6 credit course. So otherwise I would have to find 2 other courses to replace it. I was like, this is the end of the add drop period, or we're past the add drop period, so I can't swap in a new class. And he's like, well, you can still drop till the end of the semester. No! What part are you not getting? So we were coming up with solutions. Some of our quizzes, so the thing is, I don't have 2 of the textbooks that I need. One of them has our homework, the other one has the quizzes. And part of the quizzes are like oral, like he reads the stuff, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, can we just have a conversation? He's like, we could do that. And it's just like, he hasn't had any other blind students. And my thing is, rather than trying to like push it away, and he seems like a nice guy, and maybe for him, it's just like, I don't know how to deal with it, so let's just do something else, or the student's behind, blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's like, rather than just pushing the student away, you might get another blind student. I don't care if after 20 years you never had a blind one, now you do. And yes, the course is super visual, so now we can work on other ways to either modify it, or again, that just should not be the automatic response. So all that to say that we do have a tentative plan. Professor is sending scanned versions of the next 2 weeks of work until I get the next book, and then I'm going to send it to the accessibility office. And yeah, wish me luck. In my other class, I have it's world, regions, and geography. In geography, world, regional geography, something like that. And we have group work. So on the first day of class, the professor was talking about how she already automatically separated us, and that we can just use the tool on our Blackboard site to help us to, communicate with everybody. We can email the group. We have a discussion board, all that stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to be on top of this. I'm going to be a good, productive noodle, and I am going to message the group. Class ended at 5:25. At like 4:50 or something, one of my group mates had already emailed and was like, hey, let's, what's everybody's preferred method of communication? I responded as soon as I saw it. Okay, great. So over the next week, no one responds. No one else responds, or I don't know if they responded to him, but then there's no follow-up. There's no like, okay, so we're gonna use this or we're gonna use that. So I reached out to the group and I was like, okay, so did everybody ever settle on like their favorite form or their preferred form of messaging app or whatever? And somebody's like, it doesn't even matter, or it doesn't matter, like let's just pick something, fine with iMessage, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, well send me your number and I'll create a WhatsApp group. So I sent another message to the whole group and I was like, here is the group invite link, so you can just join. One other person has joined, so now 3 of the 5 are together. We have 3 group projects this semester, all with the same group, so this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be great. Wish me luck on that, and I will keep you posted throughout the semester. But our time together is almost coming to an end. After this, it's just gonna be adult life and blindness, you know? Just this college life and blindness segment of my life 5.5 years later is almost done. If I go to graduate school in a few years, which I'm not sure of, I might, but I might not, I don't know. But I definitely need to take a break because I've been in school way too long. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, because I've been in school since like 99 when I was in preschool, when I was 3, but also just like in the college scheme of things. Like I have been at my school for way too long, almost 6 years, guys. No. So going to try to like work a little bit and kind of go from there. But this channel will definitely be resurrected, or this vlog rather will definitely be resurrected if I have like graduate school and blindness, you know? I hope this was interesting. I don't know if it was like helpful. I don't think there was any helpful content in it really. But if this was interesting to you, then like it, subscribe, comment. Ooh. Getting crazy out here with these requests, aren't I? And I'll see you next time.